Hello and welcome back to Empyrion, Galactic Survival, Reforged Eden 1.10. It's Winslow. Today, we are going to be starting on the main quests for Reforged Eden. So we're going to take ourselves to one of the starter planets. We're going to go to Haven, and we're going to start the quests. Reason being is that in order to unlock the quest needed to get the drill excavators and drill schematics from Polaris, we need to do a number of quests in the main scenario to get up to Polaris. So if you want to do the quests, if you begin on a starter planet that has the default quests enabled, they'll just start popping up. But you can do them after the fact if you go to your PDA with F1, go to solo missions, and we're going to go to main story missions here. Okay. So let me get to the planet. We're going to be in Alpha. Haven. Haven is like the easiest of the easy starter planets. If you want the easiest, most comfortable start with a pretty decent planet, Haven's a good planet, but I like a bit more of a challenge. So in the default story mission, you crash land on the planet of your choosing in an escape pod. And since we don't have to actually do that now, which is nice, I mean, we've already been through the dread start, so let me just get down planet side and I'll get to the crash site and we'll go from there. So coming into the planet, you will see some cluster of POIs. Notably, you'll see the portals POI. These portals are admin zones where you can go from starter planet to starter planet, and they're very helpful in multiplayer if you are on a very popular server and you choose a planet that has been mostly strip mined. You can go to one of the other starter planets. But we're going to land down here and we're going to activate our quest. Journey into the unknown. This is the beginning of the main Empyrion storyline. Now, this is an abbreviated or retooled version of the story quest that you get from the base version of the game. It's kind of nice that the creators of Reforged Eden have retooled it and truncated it and made it, in my experience, a better game experience. It's much more enjoyable to do their version of the starter missions and how they've organized the quests than how Elion did it. Sorry, Elion, but it's true. Not having to do top distillery is A+. So, okay. So, journey into the unknown. You've awoken in a damaged escape pod, injured and alone after it's plummeted through the atmosphere of an unknown world. With no memory of how you got here and little at your disposal, the crackling of your suit's radio puts you on the path toward answers somewhere out in the wilderness of this alien planet. So in the main story, you are a crash survivor. You crash into the planet, you wake up from your escape pod, and you are completely separated from your fleet. So the character would be attempting to reconnect with their fleet or try to find what happened. And the first task is to find an antenna. So you would have, there's a lot of wreckage around here. This is supposed to signify the wreckage of the ship that you were on. But our first task is to find an antenna, which is here. We get out of the ship. And you have to excavate a bit of the antenna. And this is a kind of a tutorial that shows you how to really utilize a lot of the tools in the game, much like we had on the Dread Planet. But because I have a drill, I'm going to dig out the receiver. Connect to the antenna, and it looks like I can access the antenna's maintenance port from here. Establish a connection to the antenna. What's going on? An excellent question, Commander. I am Ida. So Ida is your, basically your PDA or your suit AI. Ida is quite helpful. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the logs here. I will as far as doing the story. To fast track through it, just right click. There's just a lot of information on what happened when you left Apollon Station, and which was the station in our home system. Okay, so we're waiting, and now we have Ida with us. Ida is connected. And it's really helpful here when starting on Haven. There's a lot of wreckage that you can explore and you can dismantle, so you can start getting your bits and pieces for crafting your first ships in your first base. I am not designed for comedy, Commander. I am a strategic analysis AI. I do not laugh. Okay, so that is the prologue. Human debris, alone on an unknown world. Stand against an unforgiving and alien world, looking for anything that remains of your crew and your fleet among the wreckage. Are you truly alone? Ida may have found the answers you seek. Proceed. There is a Pelican-class transport nearby. Okay, UCH wreckage, Pelican-class transport. We've got it here. The ship was shot down, Commander. Plasma composition. Oh yeah, we're going to try to find some UCH personnel. Humor parameter is currently at 100%. Okay, so we've got to investigate the wreckage, and your suit and Ida detect a signal transmitting in the Heidelberg. Signals coming from inside this container. A human body wearing a UCH engineer's uniform in the advanced state of decay. Sergeant Palant, first class, chief engineer, UCH 011 Heidelberg. We found his PDA. And Ida's going to download it and read the decrypted logs. Should we, bury him? You're free to do whatever you want with that body, Commander. So, you can review the logs at any time. Detecting a faint energy signature. Another one, and another container. Some basic starting materials. We're going to take the tablet. I'm going to leave the rest of that. And there's more logs in the constructor. Connect a cable from the suit's power supply, charging up the constructor. Access the logs. They made 8 tents, which means there are at least 8 survivors. The rest of the stuff the constructor made was pretty standard stuff: supplies, communications equipment, a motorbike, and a pair of UCH Raider kits. Standard supplies for a journey over land. Like they loaded up the rest of the ship's supplies and salvaged what they could carry and headed away from the ship. Makes sense, since this place would likely have drawn attention from the enemy if they hung around too long. So I guess we should be on the lookout for a pair of UCH Raiders. There are no members of the UCH Navy anywhere on this planet. However, what I wanted from the logs, aside from confirmation, frame of reference for the inconsistencies present in the other evidence gathered from Ensign Emerson and Sergeant Plant's log files. Now we need to find the ship's bridge. I've identified an unmanned aerial vehicle patrolling near your current position, and activating the console will undoubtedly draw their attention. Want to discover the truth? Console is your only remaining blah blah blah. So then we've got to go to the bridge. Bridge console. Activate it. UCH navigation. Okay. Because he got the password wrong. Welcome, Commander Winslow. I'm a commander? Xerax Standard Lexicon. Trade Standard and Xerax Standard. Heidelberg is lost. Translation key for Xerax and Trade Standard. Okay. And that, okay, shutting the console down. Drone is moving in. But I don't really have to worry much because my ship is here to defend me. Otherwise, you're fighting a minigun drone on foot. Okay, drone's down. Might as well loot it. So it's been 311 standard Earth days since Lance body was put in that container, but for my character, it's been only a matter of an hour since we left station and the ships blew up and we crashed here. So there's a difference in time and passage of time. Probably related to warping to another galaxy. Okay, completed mission, Chapter 1, Human Debris. Chapter 2, A Forest of Stars. After uncovering the wreckage of the Heidelberg and the fate of its crew, you set off after the survivors following a trail gone cold almost a year to the neutral station that they used to get off-world and escape the Xerax pursuers. Ida has identified a populated structure not far. Could this be the station the survivors used? Sorry if this seems slow, because I'm reading, but it is, again, infinitely better than the base Elion main story quest. It's been condensed, and they've taken out a lot of the garbage. Like, bless you, Elion, for your game and the game that you've made, but you made that quest cumbersome. I never want to have to do it again. So at this point in your survivor status, you would be salvaging the wreckage of the ships, the crash site, and even you can salvage the Heidelberg here and get enough materials to make yourself a hover vessel or a small vessel. And then you would be traveling to the nearby village. Speak with the leader of the Tal'on settlement. Now remember, when in any of these settlements, do not open up any containers, because you will then be seen as hostile. And at this point in your career, the Tal'on will just obliterate you. You look pretty cool, though. I always like the tal'on. Okay, we've got the chief. We don't understand what he's saying. I'm sorry, I don't understand your language. Do you speak trade standard? Chief points to a tapestry, etc. Okay, you get any of that, Ida? Okay, we've got a structure to investigate. Don't harvest any trees or pick any plants while in Talon territory because you will lose rep and then they will attack you. Okay. I don't know what you're doing there, but find the ancient tower. All of knowledge. Hmm. No power. I cannot interface with it. Locate the power conduit. Oh, it's right here. Switch the lever. Okay, we've got power. And all of the displays are lit up. Characters from the Talon language. Okay. So the Talon regained spaceflight after a period of time that they didn't have spaceflight. They were at odds with the Trade Federation and found the Xerax, which were a moderately advanced, aggressive, or honorable warrior race, because they didn't have a military force of their own. The Talon were peaceful. So they uplifted them with interstellar travel to be allies and protectors. And that caused the Trade Federation to cease aggression against them. And the new tal'on Xerax assembly, and they created peace. $2,000 ago. Recent history on the other consoles. That console is next. Okay. Slowly, the silence spread across the galaxy, engulfing everything it touched. No warnings, no transmissions, and no survivors. Gone were the days of peace for the Assembly. War was upon us once again, and the bonds that bound us together burned bright as the fires of war were waged on the ancient evil of the past, our legacy. Ancient enemy we thought left behind long ago, bound to a dying galaxy with no way to travel the gulf of emptiness between the origin and destination. Naive we were. For while we are bound by lifetimes in memory, they were not. They took the long journey across the expanse with no thought or risk, only the cost of time the journey would take. To emerge here and now, when we were once again at peace, to take from us all that we have built again, the fight was our only choice, but time and distance served to only strengthen the ancient enemy. And so silence spread like a stain across the face of the galaxy. For where they spread, only silence was heard. And this is our first introduction to the legacy. The legacy are kind of a cool enemy once we start dealing with them. Okay. That is it for the tower. There are heat signatures moving in on the tower and formation. Able to trace them back to a transport half a kilometer away. That landed outside my focus. I apologize for not detecting them sooner. How many hostiles are we talking about here? Only 3, Commander. Okay, so then we've got some enemy troops coming. And they're blasting in from the outside. At least they should be. Sometimes the quest bits are a bit tricky. Getting them to properly toggle. First Xerax soldier. This is done in a way as to not overwhelm you when starting, because see, they don't really do that much damage. Realize I'm running around out here without any healing supplies, though. And my ship took care of the other one. So let's heal up. We gotta go back to the Tal'on Chief. Tal'on. He could speak trade standard all along. By the way, what is a goose? Horrible, wretched creature. I was attacked by Xerax right after reaching the tower. Tower contains a record of our history. Much as the Xerax would like to refute it, they would never intentionally destroy such a repository of knowledge, as it still may be of use if war resumes again. Can I tell you, Chief? The blue in a wall. Get in. Check out one of the consoles and everything behind it. The red one, I think. Well, good. They have off-site backups. So, when the ship crashed, the Tal'on chief sent his people out to put out the fires in the settlement and then help the survivors from the ships. When they tried to help the people, they mistook them for Xerax and attacked. Hunters don't want the Tal'on to help you at all because they lost a bunch of their friends. They wanted the Tal'on to sell me to the Xerax. So the young hunters do not like that, and Following the defeat of the Legacy and their forced dormancy, the Xerax who suffered the greatest or possibly only losses in the war, tal'on were centralized with not much desire for expansion and left that to those of the Assembly who desired freedom. We were all from the front lines, seen as cowards not fit to rule. Suspicions and discrimination escalated. Wild theories of us orchestrating the Xerax's demise. The hands of the Legacy became common, and xenophobia reigned supreme until it all came to a head. The houses of Xerax united behind a singular ruler, an emperor, and forcibly and violently ended the tal'on Xerax assembly. Survivors from the Purge were herded into hundreds of planets across the galaxy, some to work as slaves, others forced into primitive conditions like us, kept from technological proficiency by an iron rule enforced by our watchers. That's really all there is. Look around you, and you will see the truth of the tale, traveler. That's terrible. Why have you not fought back? Fighting is a young man's game. Too old to fight, and it couldn't bear to order my people to their death. It would be their deaths. There's no way a bow and arrows can stand against heavy machine guns. We are few and we are weak. Much as it pains me to admit it, we can only endure. Sooner or later, Chief, people will need to stand up and fight. One day they won't remember the past. This business is our own. Mind your own business. Yes, so what will happen to the young hunters? The youngsters will be apprehended and brought before the tribal council to determine their guilt. Way I can help? So the hunters don't want to bring in the rebellious hunters. So I'm to meet with the head hunter or the lead hunter. And go on a task. I'm not impressed by you. That's okay. I already sent out a message. Okay. Like, I get why they're hostile towards us, because they lost a bunch of people. They might be in trouble. I will go out, and you will accompany me to ensure that there is no deception. Where are we going? Eve is the closest. Okay. So there's a nearby monument that we gotta go to. I don't need to fly over there. I can just walk. So, long story short, the tal'on were spacefaring, highly advanced, and had left their home galaxy because they were fleeing from the Legacy, which had overtaken and destroyed the galaxy. When they got here, they lived peacefully for a long time. After having strengthened themselves against the Trade Federation, who saw them as invaders. They allied and uplifted with the Xerax, and all was cool until the Legacy returned and obliterated most of the Xerax. And they blamed the tal'on for it. So the Xerax crushed the tal'on, killed most of them in some sort of galactic purge after the Legacy were stopped. and then put them in concentration camps, basically. Left them in primitive conditions on prison worlds where they cannot escape. Search for Kiev inside the monument tower. I mean, he's got a point. Like, I fully get it. And there were 2 Xerax here with the tal'on, with the young hunter. Better return to the village and tell Chief Natek what happened. But without the missing hunter. Oh no, you don't need to explain. We saw the whole thing. We saw you gun him down. Yeah. I was only defending myself after he attacked me. We're not violent people. Well, Huntsmaster. You would vouch for this one? Four Xerax soldiers. I didn't see 4 Xerax soldiers. And we seem to be friendly. Well, not friendly, but not hostile. Okay. So what this will do You are now welcome among my clan, Traveler Winslow. So the vehicle is headed to the trade station belonging to the Polaris traders. I know this because I was there purchasing medical supplies. Okay. So we got 1500 rep with the tal'on. We've unlocked some repeatable tal'on quests for rep. You've cleared your name and found an unlikely ally in the tal'on, but it seems things are not always what they seem, and trust needs to be earned in this new galaxy. Can the Polaris, who helped smuggle your people off-world ahead of the Xerax, be trusted? Or are they playing a deeper game? Only time will tell. These guys are so loud. Anyway. Okay. Outsiders always bring trouble. We've got traders here that we can look at. The medicine man has stuff for sale. Commander. Okay. And there's a couple other traders here. Bushman sells stuff. Some medical supplies. And one of the best things here, let's see if this is the dude. Trapper will sell crossbow and some bolts. It's a good place to get thorns, alien thorns on the planet that you need for some of the higher end. I think that's the guy we need. Remember, don't open any boxes. Well, if he has mushroom farmer. The Braphus fungi is one of the things that you can buy to turn in at Vitalife Pharmaceuticals for one of their quests. So here's the dude who sells it. You can unlock these, open up these vendors without having to do the quests. You just have to be neutral. You just don't attack them. And at this point in your journey, you would probably be working on building a ship that could go up into space. Because at this point, you could do everything with a hover vessel. So for now, I'm going to wrap things up here today. And we will resume next time, starting out with the Polaris quests at the trade station. I want to thank everyone again for watching these Empyrion videos and supporting the channel. I do greatly appreciate all of your support and your time. It really means a lot to me. Sorry if this episode seemed a little bit slow. It's because I'm doing a live recording of the voiceover rather than after editing. So, but again, appreciate your time, and we will see you next time with starting the Polaris quests. Bye-bye.